Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be doing a recap for a movie from 2023, titled, The Channel. Spoilers ahead, so watch out. Jamie is a guy who appears to have a normal life with a regular job. One morning, he leaves his daughter with the babysitter, and goes about his day looking carefree. People seeing him wouldn't have imagined that Jamie would later gang up with a group of ex-Marines to rob a bank at gunpoint. Surprisingly, his own brother named Mick is part of the crew. Mick looks quite intimidating with a bald head and mean eyes compared to Jamie.
Let's rock and roll. Everybody freeze, don't you fucking move!
The robbery happened just as they planned. The crew prepared themselves with all the necessary equipment and entered the bank to steal a huge amount of $3 million. While in the bank, Mick got angry at the manager for attempting to make them dial a panic code, rather than the security code leading to the vault. Now, the gang is done looting and ready to elope with the money. Little did they know that the police were outside, ready to intercept them. As soon as the gang stepped out of the bank, the local police and FBI officers attacked them in what turned out to be a fierce shootout.
Get in! Get the fuck now! Oh! Goddamn! Wait! On land! On land!
The gang escapes, narrowly killing 6 cops in the process, and drives off after switching vehicles. But unfortunately, 3 gang members lost their lives in the shootout, leaving just the 2 brothers and another man, who suffered severe injuries during the gunfire. Mick is really furious and wants to kill the person who betrayed the crew to the police. He thinks the cops knew about the robbery beforehand, and that's why the FBI got involved too. Mick doesn't feel sorry for killing the cops because he believes they were there to hurt them. Jamie's main worry is getting out of the area safely. Now, they are responsible for the cops' deaths, and Jamie knows that the police will be after them all over the country. But first, they need to get the injured guy the help he needs. On the other hand, Special Agent Frank Ross arrives at the scene to catch the cop killers, who are still on the loose. He talks to the bank tellers, including Ava, who happens to be Jamie's fiancée, but no one knows about it. Agent Ross tries to gather any important information they can remember. The bank is small, so Agent Ross is curious to know why there is such a large amount of money in the vault. He gets help from Agent Mike Hayes and Lieutenant Bauer, who tell him they receive a tip from a vice officer. The tip is about a man named Edward Smalls, who helps Jamie and Mick by providing information about the bank's cybersecurity, enabling them to carry out the robbery. Agent Ross has a conversation with Smalls to learn more details that could help identify the criminals. Smalls confesses that he gives the information because the men threaten him. He describes the 2 men as brothers, with the younger one wearing a locket, and the elder having tattoos with specific names on them. Using the names mentioned by Smalls, Agent Mike is able to identify the brothers as Mick and Jamie. Now, it is only a matter of time before they are caught and brought to justice. Still on the run, Bill connects the gang with Nussie to help them convert the stolen cash, but he warns Jamie that Nussie will take a huge cut, meaning he will only return 30% of the $1.5 million stolen from the bank. Now, the brothers are in a desperate situation and have to find a way to escape, especially Jamie, who has a family to take care of. Jamie is in a tough spot, but he knows he has no choice. Ava comes back terrified that Jamie will be caught. Seeing her so vulnerable and fearing that he would leave Joan fatherless, he decides to make the deal. Mick doesn't know that Jamie has made a deal, which he considers terrible. He expects a 50% cut, but when they receive the money, Mick is surprised by the small amount they get in exchange for their hard-earned $1.5 million. Jamie tries to explain that they have no choice, as they need the cash to escape from Ross and the other officers, who will arrive soon. During the argument, Nuss's brother, who brings the cash, sees Mick's behavior and gives him an ultimatum, pulling out his guns. Mick, being volatile, feels disrespected and shoots Nuss's brother. Now, Jamie has no choice but to support his brother. His main goal is to escape, but he can't leave Mick behind. Mick kills Nuss's brother, and Jamie has to take care of the rest of the crew members.
Yep, there you go.
Jamie decided to leave Mick because he knew Mick caused problems. He tells Mick that this is their last operation, and would love to go separate ways. He finally listened to Ava, who was the only sensible person around. Mick gets furious at Jamie's choice and starts blaming Ava. The brothers get into a fight, and then Nussie shows up. They had killed Nuss's brother, and he is furious about it. Nuss's men capture Jamie, Mick, and Ava. Ross and his team hear about the shootout involving Nuss's brother, and realize it must involve Mick and Jamie. They had the bank money that needed to be cleaned, so something must have gone wrong during the deal. At Nuss's place, Mick realizes he was wrong and tries to bargain for their lives, asking Nussie to kill him instead. However, his plea fails. Nussie plans to dissolve Jamie in sulfuric acid and make Mick watch his brother die. Jamie and Ava are tied up and helpless. When Nussie gets too close to Jamie to pour sulfuric acid on him, Jamie seizes the opportunity to escape and kicks Nussie, while Mick takes care of the others, and in the end, he shoots Nussie the same way he shot his brother.
Don't shoot.
Jamie realizes that Mick won't stop the killings, so he decides to leave his brother behind and go away with Ava. Mick assures his brother that everything is going to be fine. He then takes the bags and continue the run. Agent Ross arrives the scene with his team and begin to chase Mick. Mick tries to run while exchanging bullets with the police, but he gets shot and injured in the process. Mick gets hold of Agent Mike and tries to use him as cover, but Ross shoots down Mick and asks about Jamie's whereabouts. Mick tells Ross that Jamie is dead.
He's dead.
Unknown to the police, Jamie had taken a bus and escaped with Emma. In the end, Ross does find Jamie's locket in the sulfuric acid, and this convinces him that Mick is telling the truth. The whole crew that robbed the bank is no more. Everyone is dead. Among the remaining suspects, Ava, who works as a bank teller, is the last one. Ross approaches Ava and asks how she raised the money for Joanne's surgery. They had a little conversation about fatherhood, during which she gives him some really good advice. Ross knows she is involved, but he doesn't want to harm her little baby. Come to think of it, all the gang members were dead, and the money stolen was recovered, so he lets it slip. They believed Jamie had died, but after a few years, Jamie reconnects with Ava and Joan in an island near the Bolivian border, where he has been living for the past few years.